This is our revision exercise for Mathematics Paper 2, Junior Certificate Maths. And we are going to be looking at multiple choice questions. So you should have with you a set of mathematical instrument, no calculator usage. You are expected not to use a calculator. The first question says, a group of students left Mahalape at 11:20 a.m. and arrived in Gaborone at 4:55 p.m. And then we are expected to write 4:55 p.m. in 24-hour notation. So how do you write the 4:55 in 24-hour clock notation? It's 4:55 p.m. We have the p.m. here. So what is the meaning of this p.m.? The p.m. is simply saying add 12 to the time that you are having. So the time that you are having is 4:55. And then we are to add 12 to this. So this will be 12 and then 0, 0. Then 5 plus 0 is 5. This is a 5. And then 5 plus this 0 is also a 5. And then 4 plus 2 is 6. And then here 1. So we have 1655, meaning when you convert 4:55 to in PM into 24-hour notation, it will be 1655. We now check from the alternatives. Do we have 1655 in our alternatives? The first one is 0455. This is not the answer that we are looking for. 1120 is not the answer. 0535 is also not the answer. And then the answer as per our working is 1655. Then we will circle D, because this is the correct answer to this question. Question number 2. The highest temperature recorded in Botswana on a summer day was 40.5 degrees Celsius, while the lowest temperature on a winter day was minus 4.5 degrees Celsius. Then the question is, what is the difference between these temperatures? So you have to find the difference between these temperatures. The difference is basically what we get when we subtract. So we have 40.5 minus 4.5. It's minus because the 4.5 here is also minus. So it's 40.5 minus, then minus 4.5. So this will be 40.5. A negative and a negative is positive. So it will be 40.5 plus 4.5. And then what is 40.5 plus 4.5? It's just 40.5 plus 4.5. 5 plus 5 is 10, carry 1. And then 0 plus 4 is 4, plus 1, 5, and then a 4. Meaning the temperature difference is 45.0, which is just 45 degrees Celsius. We now check from the alternatives. Do we have 45 degrees Celsius in our alternatives? The first one is minus 45 degrees, B 43 degrees, and then C is 45 degrees Celsius, D 36 degrees Celsius. So the answer that we got is 45 degrees Celsius. This is the answer to this question. Then make sure that you circle it, because you have to indicate by circling the correct answer. So as per our working, we have 45 degrees Celsius, and it corresponds to the answer at C. We'll circle the letter C here to indicate that we have answered this question. And then question number 3. The size of each exterior angle of a regular polygon is 24 degrees. Calculate the number of sides the polygon has. So here we are given the value of each exterior angle, and then we are expected to find the number of sides the polygon has. You need to note that the sum of the exterior angle of any polygon add up to 360 degrees. The sum of the exterior angle of any polygon is equals to 360 degrees. So this simply means if we are to add all the angles outside the exterior angles of this polygon, we are going to get 360 degrees. So we are expected to find here the side. There are the number of sides for this polygon. So this is how this is looking like. We are saying the angle here is 24 degrees. Then the question says find the number of sides the polygon has. We are saying the angle in this case is 24 times the number of angles. Remember, the number of angles is equal to the number of sides. So this will be 24 times n, where n is the number of angles or the number of sides. So it's 24 times n, giving us 360 degrees. Then divide here by 24, divide here by 24 as well. 24 cancels 24, then n will be equals to, we can check here, 12 into 24 is 2, and then 12 into 36 is 3 here, and then a 0, meaning we have 30 divided by 2. And then what is 30 divided by 2? 2 into 2 once, 2 into 30 is 15. So this is simply saying the number of sides is equals to 15. This is the number of sides. So let's check from the alternatives. Do we have 15 somewhere in our alternatives? A is 30, C is 24, D is 360 degrees. So according to this question, the number of sides for this polygon, which is 15, is at B. So we will circle the letter B. This is the correct answer to this question. The answer is 15 sides, and we will circle the 15 here. And then question number 4. Question number 4 says, find the equation of the straight line through 3, 4, and 6, 4. So you have to find the equation of the line passing through these 2 points, 3, 4, and 4, 6. The equation of a line is given as y is equals to mx plus c, where m is the gradient, and then c is the y-intercept. Now, we have to start by finding the gradient of this line. How do we find the gradient of a line? The gradient of a line m is given as y1 minus y2 divided by x1 minus x2. So according to this question, the gradient will be 4 minus 6 divided by, it's not 4 minus 6, oh, is this 4 minus this 6? So it's 4 minus 6 divided by 3 minus 4. Is this 3 and this 4? So it's 4 minus 6 divided by 3 minus 4. This will be 4 minus 6 is minus 2 divided by 3 minus 4 is minus 1, meaning the gradient is 2 because it's minus 2 divided by negative 1. So the gradient is 2. And then what about the y-intercept? We need to find the y-intercept. We have found the gradient. Then for this equation to be complete, we need to know what the y-intercept is. We can pick any of the points, either this or this, to find the y-intercept. And then if we pick the point 3, 4, all that we are simply saying is your y is equals to 4. So 4 is equals to, and then what is the gradient? The gradient is 2. So it's 4 equals to 2 times x. And then what is x? X is 3. So 4 is equals to 2 times 3 plus c. And then this will be 4 is equals to 6 plus c. 4 is equals to 6 plus c, meaning 4 minus 6 is equals to c, because the 6 here is positive. We need to take this 6 to this side of the equal sign. It becomes 4 minus 6. And this is simply saying c is equals to negative 2. You have your c as negative 2, which is the y-intercept. The gradient is given as 2. And we said the equation of the line has to be in the form y is equals to mx plus c. Now, if you substitute in this equation, we have y is equals to, what is the value of m? It's 2, it's here. Then this will be 2x plus, and then what is the value of c? Minus 2. So this simplifies to y is equals to 2x. Positive times negative is negative, so it's 2x minus 2. So the equation of this line is y equals to 2x minus 2. And you check from the alternatives. Do we have y equals to 2x minus 2? This is at A. It's y equals to 2x minus 2. In this question, remember to write the equation in the form y equals to mx plus c. And you have to start by finding the gradient of the line. And to find the gradient of the line, we simply say y1 minus y2 divided by x1 minus x2. That will give you the gradient. Then after that, you need to find the y-intercept. How do you find the y-intercept? You pick any of the points, then use that point to find the y-intercept. Then from there, you can substitute for the gradient m and the y-intercept c to come out with the equation of the line. This is how we work it out. We are working out on revision exercise mathematics paper 1, and this is a multiple choice paper where you are not allowed to use a calculator. So make sure that you don't use a calculator. You practice working these questions out without using a calculator. And the next revision question is saying the graph shows the journey of a bus from point A to point B. Use it to answer questions 5, 6, and 7. So this is the graph. This is where the point A should be from the start here. So our point A. And it says you are to use this graph here, which is a distance time graph. It's a distance time graph. And then you are expected to use this graph to answer questions 5, 6, and 7. Make sure that you interpret this graph correctly, because it is very important that you interpret correctly, because you are going to use it to answer the questions which follow. The first question says, calculate the average speed from point A to point C. That is question number 5. You are to calculate the average speed from point A to point C. This is our point A is here, and then this is the point C. So it says you are to find the average speed. How do we find speed? Speed is equals to distance over time. And then what is the total distance traveled from point A to point C? The distance traveled is here, is 350 kilometers, because the distance is given in kilometers. So the distance will be 350 divided by the time. And then what is the time? The total time taken. The total time taken, if you look into this, the time here is 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. So you are to find the time taken from point A to point C. And according to this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just 5 hours. So this will be 350 divided by 5, because from point A, this bus left point A at 7 o'clock and then arrived at point C at 12 o'clock. So from 7 o'clock to 12 o'clock, it's 5 hours. So this will be 350 divided by 5. And then what is 350 divided by 5? 5 here once, 5 into 35 is 7, and then 5 into 0, rather into 0 of course is 0, meaning the speed is 70 kilometers per an hour. And then we check in our solutions here, alternatives rather, do we have 70 kilometers per an hour somewhere? B is 100 kilometers per an hour, C 120 kilometers per an hour, D 140 kilometers per an hour, and the 70 kilometers per an hour is represented at A, so we circle letter A. Question number 6. For how long was the bus stopping? Remember, this question says, rather, the instruction says you are to use the graph to answer question number 5, 6, and 7. So we are at question number 6, meaning we are to refer back to the graph to answer it. So let's go back to the graph. It says, how long was the bus stopping? From point A to point B, this bus has traveled a distance of 50 kilometers. But from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, there is no distance covered. The bus still at the 50 kilometers, meaning the bus was stopping at point B. That is from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, the horizontal part. From here up to this, the bus was stopping. So how long was the bus stopping? It's from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And then this is simply 1 hour. So let's go and check in our solutions. Do we have 1 hour in our solutions? The first one is 100 hours, B 1000 hours, C 1100 hours, and then D it's 1 hour. And this is what we found. So we will circle D to answer this question, because the bus has been stopping for 1 hour. Question number 7. Calculate the distance between point B and C in kilometers. So this question is saying you have to find the distance between point B and C, and that distance should be in kilometers. So let's refer back to the graph. Distance between B and C. Saying we have to find distance from this point up to C. So what will be the distance? We have at B, we have the 50 kilometers, but then at C is 350. So the distance between B and C will be the total distance, which is 350 minus the distance up to point B, which is 50. And this will be 350 minus 50. This is 300 kilometers. So the distance from point B to point C is 300 kilometers. You might as well count from point B going up to point C. We are at 50, and if you check, the scale here is, there is a division of 50 between each unit. So we have a 50 here, from 50 to 200. So this will be 50, 100, 150, 200. How did I count? This is 50 is here, 50, 100, 150, 200. This will be 350 minus 150, not 50, but 150 is 300 minus 150. And then what is 300 minus 150? This is 200, not 300, but 200. So this will be 200 kilometers. You must as well check, do you have the 200 when you count from point B to point C? At point B is 150, so this will be 50, 100, 150, 200. So the distance covered from point B to point C is equal to 200 kilometers. So this is the answer to question number 7. Let's go and check. Do we have 200 in our alternatives? Question number 7. The first distance 350, B 300, C 200. So the answer to this question is 200. We worked it out and we found that is 200. So we have to circle C. The next question. It says a sequence of numbers 24, 20, 16, 12, 8 is given. Use it to answer questions 8 and 9. Then question number 8, this is question number 8, says describe in words how the sequence is formed. So this question is expecting you to describe in words how the sequence is formed. And how is the sequence formed? Let's go back to it before we check the alternatives. This is 24, 20, 16, 12, and 8. And then how would you describe in words the sequence over here? The sequence should be starting with 24, starting with 24, subtract 4. Starting with 24, subtract 4. If you subtract 4 from 24, we'll get 20. Subtract 4 from 20, we get 16. And then subtract 4 from 16, you get 12. Subtract 4 from 12, we get 8. So you should describe it as starting with 24, subtract 4. So let's check. Starting with 24, subtract 4. It says starting with 1, add 4. This is not the correct answer. Subtract 4. This doesn't fully describe the sequence. It's just saying subtract 4. And then C says add 4. D says starting with 24, subtract 4. So this is the correct answer to this question. Starting with 24, subtract 4. You have to subtract 4, starting with the number 24 within that sequence given. And then question number 9. What is the algebraic form of the sequence? So you have to find the algebraic form of the sequence. The sequence is 24, 20, 16, 12, and then 8. All that you need to do is to subtract. Then when you subtract, you'll find that the first difference is minus 4. This will be minus 4, minus 4. This will be minus 4 as well. So there is a constant of minus 4 throughout. And then when the first difference is a constant, it means the expression will take the form an plus b, where a is equal to the first difference. So a here is minus 4. And then what will be the value of b? You can just take any value here and then find out what the value of b will be. And to find the value of b, we will have minus 4 times the term at position number 1. So it's just minus 4 times 1 plus b is equals to 24. So this simply means b will be equals to 24 minus, this is negative. When you take this side of the equal sign, it becomes positive. So it will be 24 plus 4, getting 28. So the expression will be minus 4n plus 28. It has to be in this form. And then we check. It's either it's going to be minus 4n plus 28, or it will be 28 minus 4n, because this is the same thing. Let's check. 4n plus 28 minus 28 plus 4n, 28 minus 4n. This is the correct answer. This is how we find the algebraic form of a given sequence. We are at question number 10 of our revision. It says find the term at position 100 using the expression 4n plus 4. So here the value of n is equals to 100. And then it says what will be the term at position number 100 using the expression 4n plus 4. We will substitute for n here. We'll have 4 times 100 plus 4. And then this will be 4 times 100 is 400 plus 4. 400 plus 4 is 404. So the term at position number 100 using the expression 4n plus 4 is 404. We'll have to check from the alternatives. Do we have 404 in our alternatives? A is 100, that's not the correct answer. C 8, D 200. And we can see that the correct answer is represented at B. So we will circle B. This is the correct answer to this question. All that we need to do is to substitute for n, and our n in this case is 100. So it will be 4 times 100 plus 4, giving us 404. And then question number 11. It says the selling price of an item is 200. The buying price was 250. Then okay.
3, 2, 1, action.
The selling price of an item is 200 pula. The buying price was 250 pula. Then the question says calculate the percentage loss. So already we know that this is a percentage loss, and you are expected to find this percentage loss. It is from 250 minus 200. The whole thing divided by the original price. And then what was the original price of this item? Is 250, because that is the buying price. So the item initially cost 250, and we need to multiply this by 100%. This will be 250 minus 200 is 50, divided by 250 times the 100%. 10 into 250 will cancel this 0 and then this 0. So we are remaining with 5 over 25 times 100. And then 25 here once. 25 into 100 is 4. So what do we have? We have 5 times 4%. And then what is 5 times 4%? This is 20%, because 4 times 4 is 20. So the answer to this question is 20%. We'll now check from the alternatives. We have 50% as A, B 10%, C 200%, and then D is 20%. And this is the correct answer to this question. This is how we find the percentage profit. All that you need to do is to subtract the selling price from the original price. According to this question, the selling price is 200 pula, and then the buying price is 250. So you simply subtract 200 pula from 250, then divide by the original price or the buying price. In this case, the buying price is 250. So this simply means it's 50 divided by 250 multiplying 100%, and we got 20%. This is how we work these questions out. And then before we part, I need to request you to make sure that you start revision early, because when you start revising early, it will give you time to know where you don't understand. It will give you time to get to know which concept you didn't get right. And by doing so, you'll also be able to go and ask for help from your teachers. This is all I had for you, Junior Certificate Mathematics learner. Until we meet again in our revision exercise, goodbye.